Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 1949 season replay. Tonight's feature game will be the Cleveland Indians, defending world champions, facing the St. Louis Browns. Thus far, we have let me get the standings up here. Sorry for the delay. I'll give you today's scores before we get started. In other action today, Chicago was at Detroit. White Sox win 7-4. Howie Judson is going to get the win. He is now 1-0. Lou Kretlow with the loss. He is 0-1. And Orval Grove gets the save for the White Sox. Player of the game is going to be Floyd Baker. And White Sox win 7-4. No home runs in that game. At Yankee Stadium, the New York Yankees remain undefeated, defeating the Washington Nationals 9-5. Tommy Byrne gets the win. He's now 1-0. Forrest Thompson gets the loss, 0-1. Joe Page is going to get the save, his first. And the player of the game is Billy Johnson, infielder for the Yankees. The only homer in the game was by Clyde Volmer. He hit his first home run for the Nationals in the loss. Boston Red Sox were at the Philadelphia Athletics, and Boston defeats Philadelphia by a score of 6-4. Mel Parnell gets the win. He's now 1-0. Phil Marchildon gets the loss. He is now 0-1, and Jack Kramer is going to get his first save for the Red Sox, and no homers in that game. Moving over to the National League, Brooklyn defeats the New York Giants 5-1. Preacher Rowe gets the win. He is now 1-0. Clint Hartung gets the loss, 0-1. The only homer in the game was hit by Sid Gordon, his second for the Giants, scoring the only run for them in that game. Pittsburgh was in Wrigley Field and defeated the Chicago Cubs 4-3 despite giving up 12 hits. Bob Moncrief is going to get the win for the Pirates. He's now 1-0. Monk Dubiel is going to get the loss for Chicago. He is 0-1. Hugh Casey with his first save of the year for Pittsburgh. Bob Moncrief hits a home run in that game, his first, and Harry Walker hits a home run for the Cubs, his first. Again, final score, Pirates 4, Cubs 3. At Cincinnati, the St. Louis Cardinals defeat the Cincinnati Reds 8-3. Howie Pallette is going to get the win. He's now 1-0. Johnny Vandermeer gets the loss. He's 0-1. Only home run in the game hit by Stan Musial, his first homer of the season. So the standings as of now, before playing this game between Cleveland and St. Louis, Yankees are on top at 3-0 with Boston and Chicago one game back. In the National League, Pittsburgh and Brooklyn are tied at 2-1 with the Cardinals only a half game out. Cardinals and Phillies only a half game out in third place. Also, Boston and Cincinnati are only a half a game out as well. So, going back to where we want to be, I'm going to give you the lineups now for the Cleveland Indians. Thurman Tucker is going to lead off and play left field. Larry Doby will play center. Lou Boudreau will be at shortstop. Joe Gordon will be at second base. Mickey Vernon will play first base. Ken Keltner will be at third. Bob Kennedy will be in right field. Jim Hagan is going to catch. And Steve Gromack is going to be on the mound for the Indians in his first start of the year. For St. Louis, Bob Dillinger will lead off and play third base. Al Zarilla will be in left field. Jerry Pretty will play second and hit third. Jack Graham will be the first baseman and hit cleanup. Dick Kokos will be in right field hitting fifth. Paul Lehner will be in center field hitting sixth. Les Moss will be behind the plate batting seventh. Eddie Pellegrini will be the shortstop and hit eighth. And Dick Starr will be the pitcher and bat ninth. So, without any further delay, let's begin this game. From Sportsman's Park in St. Louis, it's Cleveland and St. Louis. Thurman Tucker is going to lead it off for the Indians. He is 1 for 4 on this young season. Left-handed batter, 1-0 pitch to Tucker. Ground ball down to third base. Dillinger over to Graham. 1 man out. Here is Larry Doby. Doby, 1 for 6 on the season. Center fielder from the left-hand side. Dick Starr looks in. 2-0 pitch to Doby. Ground ball down to the shortstop. Pellegrini, he fires it over to Graham for the second out. And now here's Lou Boudreau, 1 for 8 in the early going. Right-handed hitter playing shortstop today. Starr with the 1-0 pitch. And that ball is going to be hit to right field, and under it is Dick Kokos to retire beside. 3 up and 3 down for the Tribe in the top of the first, and the Browns now come to bat with Bob Dillinger leading it off. Dillinger, 2 for 8 early in the season. Here is Gromack with a 1-0 pitch to Dillinger. Dillinger wraps it down to Keltner at third. Keltner over to Vernon, 1 man out. Here's Al Zarilla, the left fielder, 4 for 8 in the early going here for Zarilla. Left-handed batter, 0-2, ground ball through the shortstop Lou Boudreau, gets under for a base hit, and the Browns have their first batter on for the game. And here's Jerry Pretty. Pretty 2 for 7 in the early going, playing second base and hitting third today. 0-1 pitch to Pretty. Fly ball back, but the left fielder Thurman Tucker has it for the second out, and Zarilla remains at first. Here's Jack Graham, the first baseman. 2 out of 7 in the early going for the Browns. He bats from the left-hand side. 3-1, ground ball over to Gordon. Gordon flips it over to Vernon, and that's going to retire beside as the Browns leave a man on. And we go to the top of the second. Cleveland to bat. Here's Joe Gordon, second baseman, longtime Yankee, right-handed hitter. He is 2 for 8 in the early going. Starr pitches. Gordon up the middle. Pellegrini over to Graham. 1 man out. Pellegrini had to dive for that ball, but he got it. Here's Mickey Vernon, acquired in a trade with the Nationals earlier this year for Eddie Robinson's. Vernon is 3 for 7 in the early going. Left-handed batter with some power. Winding the pitch. That ball is going to be sliced into left field for a base hit. Zarilla up with it, and Mickey Vernon's going to slide into second with a double. So the Indians have a runner in scoring position with 1 man out for Ken Keltner. 1 for 6 in the early going this season. So Starr on the mound. The full count. He hits it down to Graham. Graham takes it unassisted to first base. 2 man out for Bob Kennedy. 0 for 6 in the season for Kennedy. Runner at third in the form of Mickey Vernon. 2 man out Starr trying to get out of it, and he swings and misses, and he strikes Kennedy out for the third out of the inning. Indians leave a man on, and we move to the bottom of the second. Still no score, with Dick Kokos to come up, followed by Paul Lehner and Les Moss. Kokos 2 out of 8 so far. Left-handed batter. Starr with a 1-0 pitch. Ground ball. Down to Gordon. Over to Vernon. One man out. That brings to the plate Paul Lehner. Lehner, 2 out of 6. He has a homer and an RBI. Left-handed batter with some power. Gromek checks the sign. 3 balls and 1 strike to Lehner, and Lehner is going to line it out to Vernon at first base for the second out. And here's Les Moss, only 1 for 3 so far this season for the Browns. Right-handed batter catching today. Les Moss, full count, 3-2, and Moss is going to hit a ball right back up the box for a base hit. He is now on first for Eddie Pellegrini. 0 for 7 though far, looking for his first hit of the game. So here's Eddie Pellegrini, winding the pitch. That ball's hit, but Thurman Tucker is in left field to pull it down, and the Browns leave a runner on. We move to the top of the third with a scoreless game, with Cleveland coming up. Jim Hagan, Steve Gromek, and Thurman Tucker to bat for the Tribes. Here's Hagan, 3 for 7 with an RBI in the early going. Starr pitches, ball hit down to Pretty, but Graham cannot hold on to it, and that is going to be an error on the throw by Jerry Pretty. So the error is going to be charged to Pretty, and Hagan is down at first for Gromek, probably going to bunt, and he does. That ball gets thrown back to the pitcher, and that throw is a little bit wild. Let's see he gives that error to. That is going to be charged to the pitcher, Dick Starr. So 2 errors in a row. Indians have 2 men on, second and third, with nobody out, on a couple of throwing errors by the Browns. So top of the order up with Thurman Tucker. He's 1 for 5 on the season with an RBI, 0 for 1 in this game. Well, I stand corrected on that. He may not, he is 0 for 1. Okay, I'm correct. Okay, he is 0 for 1. So second and third, nobody out for Thurman Tucker. Starr trying to get out of it. 1-1 pitch. Tucker down the right field line, gets through. Graham can't field it. That's going to score 2 runs, and Thurman Tucker is going to slide into second with a double, and the Indians now lead it 2-0 on the RBI double by Thurman Tucker. So here's Larry Doby with nobody out and a runner in scoring position. Doby is 0 for 1 on the day, 1 for 7 for the season, and Doby swings and misses. And that's an out, 1 out for Lou Boudreau. Boudreau 0 for 1. 1 for 9 on the end. Boudreau hits it down to Dillinger. Dillinger gets it over to Graham for the second out. But in the process, Thurman Tucker moves down to third. And here's Joe Gordon with a chance to drive him in. Gordon 0 for 1, 2 for 9 on the season. 3-2 full count, and he walks him. So Starr walks Joe Gordon with 2 outs, runners on the corners for Mickey Vernon. Vernon, 1 for 1 on the day, 4 for 8 in the season. Vernon with an RBI chance here, winding the pitch, and he's going to be walked on a 3-2 pitch. And the bases stay loaded. Will become loaded for Kenny Keltner. 0 for 1 on the day, 1 for 7 on the season. Another full count to Keltner, and that ball is going to be popped up. Who's going to take it? That is going to be taken by Jerry Pretty, and that retires the side. But Indians get 2. It's now 2-0. So Dick Starr, the pitcher for the Browns, will lead it off here in the bottom of the third, down 2-0. Starr, ground ball Boudreau, Boudreaux over to Vernon. One man out. Here's Bob Dillinger. Dillinger 0 for 1 on the day, 2 for 9 out for the season. Dillinger with an 0-0 pitch. He gets it down to Keltner. Keltner over to Vernon. 2 out. And Al Zarilla's now up. 1 for 1 on the day for Zarilla. 5 for 9 on this young season. Left-handed batter facing Gromack with a full count 3-2 pitch. And he misses. Gromack misses, so Zarilla is now on first for Jerry Pretty. 0 for 1 on the day for Pretty, now 2 for 8 on the season. 2 outs with a runner on first. Gromack looks in, ground ball to Gordon. Gordon over to Vernon, and he makes the play. And so, one left on for the Browns, and it's still a 2-0 game. So here's Bob Kennedy, the right fielder. 0 for 1 on the day, 0 for 7 on the season. Starr now has thrown 63 pitches. 3-2 count to Kennedy, and Kennedy rips it to the right, but Dick Cocos is right there to pull it in. One man out. Here's Jim Hagan, 0 for 1 on the day, 3 for 8 in the season with an RBI. Hagan swings, and that ball is dribbled down to first. Graham over to the pitcher, Starr, but he beats it out. So Jim Hagan beats out the ground ball and reaches on an infield single. So with one man out, here's Gromack. Very little speed over there with Steve for Hagan, but not bad for a catcher. Here's Gromack. Gromack sacrificed his last time up, and there's now an 0-1 count on Gromack. So Gromack gets back in there. He squares the bunt. That ball is hit down to Graham. Graham flips it over to Pretty, covering first for the second out of the inning. And Hagan moves down to first. And now Thurman Tucker is now up. He is 1 for 2 on the day with 2 RBIs. 2 for 6 on the season. Thurman Tucker. 1-0 pitch. Tucker. Fly ball. Center field. And that ball is going to be catched by Paul Lehner. And that retires the side. So the Indians leave a man on. It's 2-0 going into the bottom of the fourth. Here's Jack Graham, the first baseman. Graham is 0 for 1, 2 for 8 on the year. Gromack pitches. Graham, ground ball to Vernon, over to Gromack, one man out. Here is Dick Cocos, the right fielder. Cocos 0 for 1 on the day, 2 for 9 on the season. 2-2 pitch, ripped over into left field for a base hit. So Dick Cocos is going to hold up at first, and he has a base hit now for the Browns with one man out for Paul Lehner. Lehner is 0 for 1 on the day, 2 for 7 on the season with a homer and an RBI. 0-2 pitch to Paul Lehner, and that ball is going to get by Hagan. That runner advancing in the form of Dick Cocos. So here's Lehner with a chance of scoring position. 1-2 pitch to Lehner. Fly ball, center field, should be Doby, should be an out. So that makes it 2 men out for Les Moss. Moss is 1 for 1 today, 2 for 4 on the season. Moss trying to drive the run, and there's another rip to center, but Doby's going to be under that one as well to make the catch. And the Browns come up empty, leaving another runner on. We move to the Browns, rather. Indians are now up to bat in the inning. So here's Larry Doby. Doby is 0 for 2 on the day, 1 for 8 on the season. Checking his pitches staff. Starr has thrown 77 pitches in this game. Left-handed batter, Doby. Winding the pitch. Ground ball down to Pretty. Over to Graham. 1 out. Here's Lou Boudreaux. Boudreaux 0 for 2 on the day, 1 for 10 on the season. Boudreaux swings, and that ball is going to be caught by Paul Lehner in center field for 2 outs. And here's Joe Gordon. Gordon on the day, 0 for 1, 2 for 9 on the season. 1-2 pitch to Joe Gordon. Swing and a miss. Strikeout for Dick Starr. That'll be his third strikeout of the game. And the Yankees go down. Moving to the bottom of the second, it's now 2-0 with Eddie Pellegrini up to face Steve Gromack. Gromack has thrown 63 pitches for Cleveland. So here's Pellegrini, 0 for 8 on the season, 0 for 1 today. 0-0 pitch to Pellegrini. Ground ball down to Boudreaux. Boudreaux fires over to Vernon. Vernon picks it up, and it's a 6-3 put out for Dick Starr. Starr 0 for 1. He's going to stay in the game. Wine in the pitch. That ball flips to the left, but Thurman Tucker is going to be under it to make the play for the second out. Here's the leadoff man, Bob Dillinger. Dillinger 0 for 2 on the day, 2 for 10 on the season. 0-1 pitch to Bob Dillinger. Ground ball hit sharply to Boudreaux, but Boudreaux's up with it. Flips it over to Vernon, and that retires the side. So the Indians come up in the top of the sixth, leading 2-0. Mickey Vernon up 1 for 1 on the day, 4 for 8 on the season. Starr has now thrown 86 pitches for the Browns. 3-0 count, and that ball is going to miss inside, ball 4. So Vernon goes down to first with nobody out for Ken Keltner. Keltner on the day, 0 for 2, 1 for 8 in the season. 0-1 pitch to Keltner, and he bunts it. Graham forced to field it, flips it over to Pretty, coming over from second to cover. And he advances the runner and does his job. So here's Bob Kennedy looking to break open here. He's 0 for 2 on the day, 0 for 8 in the season. Mickey Vernon at second, one man out. Starr with a 3-2 pitch. Ground ball to the shortstop Pellegrini, over to Graham. That makes it 2 outs. Runner holding at second for Jim Hagan. Hagan is 1 for 2 on the day, 4 for 9 on the season with an RBI. 0-0 pitch to Hagan. They decide to walk him, so that was an intentional walk. And this is going to bring up Gromack, and the AI will let Gromack hit. He's no official plate appearances today for Gromack. Wine in the pitch, ground ball to Pellegrini. Pellegrini over to second base to get the force out. And the Indians stranded runners. And we move to the bottom of the sixth, 2-0. Al Zarilla up for the Browns, to be followed by Jerry Pretty and Jack Graham. Zarilla is 1 for 1, 5 for 9 in this young season. So 0-1 pitch to Al Zarilla. Ground ball down to Gordon. Gordon over to Vernon. One man out. Jerry Pretty is up. 222 on the season for young Pretty. 1-1 pitch to Jerry Pretty. Fly ball left. Thurman Tucker under it. Makes the play. 2 man out for Jack Graham. Graham is 0 for 2, 2 for 9 on the season. Left-handed batter. 1-1 pitch from the arm of Steve Gromack. And Graham hits a ball that gets almost to the wall. Fires back in. Kennedy fires back in as quick as he could, but Jack Graham is in there with a double. So let's see if the Browns can capitalize on this with Dick Kokos up. Kokos is 1 for 2 on the day, 3 for 10 on the season. Oh, 0-1, fly ball, center field, Doby under it, makes the play for the third out. The Indians leave a man on, and still leave the Browns leave a man on. Sorry about that. Browns lead a man on, but the Indians now lead 2-0, still lead 2-0 in the top of the seventh for Thurman Tucker, to be followed by Larry Doby and Lou Boudreaux. Tucker, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs on the day. He's now 2 out of 7 for the season. Dick Starr is still in there. He's thrown 102 pitches. Here's Tucker. Wine in the pitch, Tucker. Ground ball to Pretty. Pretty over to Graham. 1 man out. Here's Larry Doby. Doby is 0 for 3 on the day, 1 for 9 in this season. Doby, 1-2 pitch. Ground ball is going to be ripped up the middle just past second baseman Jerry Pretty to his right. And Larry Doby capitalizes to get a base hit. Here's Boudreaux, 0 for 3 on the day, 1 for 11 in the season. Good speed down at first in the form of Boudreaux, and now we have a reliever. Cliff Fannin has now come in to pitch for the Browns. This is his first appearance of the season. So Cliff Fannin, a right-hander, is now on the mound for the St. Louis Browns. So we have one out with a runner on first for Boudreaux. Winding the pitch down to Pretty bobbles it, and that's going to be an error, and that's the third error of the game for the Browns. So Cleveland has runners in first and second with one out for Joe Gordon. Gordon is 0 for 2 on the day, 2 for 10 in the series. Fannin walks Joe Gordon, adding more fuel to the fire here for Mickey Vernon, who is 1 for 1 and 4 for 8 on the season and swinging a hot bat so far after coming over from the Nationals, or Nationals, whatever you prefer. Here's Vernon then, 1 for 1. 2-2 pitch to Mickey Vernon, slapped down to third with the infield pulled in, but they could not get to it. And the runner is cut off by Pellegrini. Another run to keep from scoring, but it's now a 3-0 game for the Indians, still with one out. So Lou Boudreaux is at third, Joe Gordon is at second, and Mickey Vernon is at first. And here's Ken Keltner, 0 for 2 and 1 for 8 on the season. So Fannin is still in there for the Browns. And let's see if Ken Keltner can capitalize on this bases loaded situation with one out. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Fannin with his first strikeout means a big second out. And here's Bob Kennedy. Kennedy is oh for 3 on the day, 0 for 9 on the season. Let's see if he can break out of this slump. 0-2 pitch to Kennedy. Kennedy rips it to center, but Lehner is under it to make the play. So Indians leave 3 on, but they lead it 3-0 going into the bottom of the 7th. Paul Lehner up. He is 0 for 2 on the day, 2 for 8 on the season with a home run and RBI. Gromek is still in there. 77 pitches thrown so far. So here's Lehner. 2-1 to Lehner. Rip to right. That's going to fall in front of Kennedy for a base hit. So the Browns show a little bit of life here in the 7th inning with Les Moss up. Moss is 1 for 2, 2 for 5 on the season. Lehner is going down to second, and he is going to be caught stealing 2-4. So one out now for the Browns with Les Moss up with nobody on. A 1-1 pitch to Les Moss, and that ball is ripped through between second, shortstop, and third for a base hit. So Les Moss gets yet another hit for the Browns. So here's Eddie Pellegrini. Pellegrini is 0 for 2 in this game, 0 for 9 in the series. Pellegrini with Les Moss at first, and there is one out. 2-2 pitch, and Pellegrini. It's a ground ball over to Gordon. Gordon flips to Boudreaux, but they only get the lead runner, leaving us with 2 outs for a pinch hitter. Roy Sievers, a rookie outfielder, is going to pinch hit for the Browns. Sievers is 0 for 1 in this season, early season. He's got some power. 0-1 pitch to Roy Sievers, ground ball down to Boudreaux. Boudreaux flips it over to Gordon, makes the 6-4 play, and the Browns fail to score again as we move to the top of the 8th. And Joe Ostrowski is now going to be on the mound for St. Louis as he was batted for in the last inning. By Roy Sievers. So here's Ostrowski to face Hegan. Hegan 1 for 2 on the day, 4 for 9 on the season. Here's the wind and the pitch to Hegan. Ground ball, Pellegrini over to Graham, 1 man out. Here's Steve Gromack. He's going to bat for himself. Stay in the game. Gromack 0 for 1 on the day, 0 for 1 altogether. Here's Gromack. Wind in the pitch, fly ball, center field, Laner with the catch. 2 outs. And that brings up Thurman Tucker. Tucker is 1 for 4 on the day, 2 for 8 on the season. Left-handed batter. Ostrowski to Tucker, 0-2 pitch. And Tucker rips the ball into center field for a base hit. And he will hold up at first. And that brings up Larry Doby. Doby, 1 for 4 on the day, 2 for 10 overall. 2 outs, runner on first in the form of Tucker. Here's Doby, and Doby takes the ball inside, 4-4. So that puts 2 runners on for Lou Boudreau. Boudreau 0 for 4. 1 for 12 in this season. Here's Boudreau with a 3-1 pitch with 2 men on, and he slaps the ball down to Bob Dillinger. Dillinger goes over to Pretty for a 5-4 putout, and the Browns escape another bad inning. So we move to the bottom of the 8th inning with the top of the order up. Bob Dillinger, Al Zarilla, Jerry Pretty. Dillinger 0 for 3 on the day, looking for his first hit. Gromack is still on the mound for the Indians, and there's a ball knocked down to first base, but Vernon picks it up and makes the play unassisted for 1 out. Here's Al Zarilla. Zarilla 1 for 2 on the day, 5 for 10 in the series, hitting .500. And he has a 1-2 pitch on his way from Gromack. And here it comes. Ground ball, down to Verdon, unassisted. He makes the play, 2 men out for Jerry Pretty, hitting .200, 0 for 3 on the day. Gromack still pitching. Pretty 0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Gromack, I believe, got his first strikeout in that inning, if I am not mistaken. So we move now to the top of the 9th. 3 more outs to go for Cleveland, but first they're going to bat with Joe Gordon up. Gordon is 0 for 2 on the day. Joe Ostrowski still out there for the Browns. Gordon checks his sign, 1-0 pitch, fly ball, left field, but Al Zarilla is left there to make the catch, 1 man out. Here's Mickey Vernon, 2 for 2 on the day, 5 for 9 on the series for this tough one against Joe Ostrowski. Wind in the pitch. Fly ball left field into left field for a base hit. So Mickey Vernon gets yet another hit. This time off the bat of Joe Ostrowski. So here's Ken Keltner with a runner on first. Kenny is 0 for 3, 1 for 9 on the series. Here's the wind in the pitch. Check, call, strike 3. That looked very strange. And that is going to retire the side. I believe that's going to retire the side. No, not quite. We still have 2 outs with a runner on first for Bob Kennedy. I beg your pardon. So we have 2 outs. Top of the 9th, 3-0 Cleveland. Bob Kennedy up with Mickey Vernon at first. Kennedy has not registered a hit so far this season. 0 for 10 on the tough season. So here's Kennedy. 1-0 pitch. Swing, fly ball, center field. Laner makes the play. So the Indians did not get anything in that inning. Gromack comes back out to the mound, tries to finish it up. Here is Jack Graham. Graham has had a decent day, 1 out of 3, playing first base for the St. Louis Browns. So Gromack now has thrown 100 pitches even. And he's thrown a 3-2 pitch to Jack Graham, and here it comes. Graham looks at it with a called third strike. Here's here's the next man up, Dick Cocos. Cocos is 1 for 3 on today, 3 for 11 overall. Cocos, wide in the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Third, Paul Lehner up now. Lehner, 1 for 3 on today, 3 for 9 on this young season with a homer and an RBI. 2-1 pitch to Paul Lehner. Here it comes. Lehner rips it to second baseman Joe Gordon. Just a pop-up. And this game is over as Steve Gromack shuts out the St. Louis Browns by a score of 3-0. Here's your totals for today's game. For the Indians, 3 runs on 7 hits, no errors, and they actually left 13 men on base. For St. Louis, no runs, 6 hits, 3 costly errors, and I was looking for a crowd size. I am not seeing one at all. There was no home runs in this game either. And again, Cleveland prevails 3-0 behind a complete game victory for Steve Gromack. So that is going to do it for now, ladies and gentlemen. We'll look real quickly at the standings before I sign off, and Cleveland is now moved up to 2-1, is only a game out of first base, as is the Red Sox and the White Sox. So I look forward to being back with you next time. And until then, good night.